I want to teach you to start thinking strategically for your business, because when you do, you're able to turn chaos into order. You're able to have a roadmap for success. You're able to turn uncertainty into clarity. Some of you don't have them, and that's why you're so easily swayed this direction and that direction and doing a lot of different things. Hello. So I have to get into it because Lamar took my side of the bed and he also took some of my time, so I got to get into it. But anyway, okay, so I'm Ronnie Tyler, and I'm COO of Tyler Media. And today we're going to dive into how to take your big picture goals, how to take your annual goals, and break those down so that you can succeed, all right? So navigating from big picture goals to team-driven success. And so I'm going to give you some tools and strategies that are going to allow you to give your team the roadmap to not only execute your dreams, but to also be aligned with your mission and vision. So that's what we're going to do today. All right, so I want you to learn about a few things today. How to transform your annual goals into actionable tasks, right? And if you don't have annual goals, then that's going to be one of your to-dos, is to make sure that you have annual goals. We want to master the art of delegation. And then the third thing, I want you to master the art of empowerment, empowering your team. And if you don't have a team, you're going to empower yourself. We want you to create a culture of accountability and of alignment, all right? So why listen to me? Okay? Yeah. Because y'all was listening to him, so y'all should listen to me. Because I was like seriously shocked at how many of y'all was like, that's the truth. And I'm like, okay, well, this is going to be the truth today, okay? So there's that, all right. But anyway, why listen to me? Right, so my journey has taken me from managing large global project management, projects, software development projects for IBM, to spearheading our product launches and our film production for Tyler Media. And I've turned my project management skills into tools for business efficiency and also profitability. And now I've made it my mission to work with small business owners to help them streamline their operations. I help them maximize their output and actually just to meet their goals more efficiently. So that is why listen to me. But I am going to have a few Cat Williams keeping it real moments, okay? So yeah, let's get going. All right, so the first thing that I want you to do in order to get your big picture goals, right, actually mapped into action items that you can actually do, is to start to think strategically. To start to think strategically in your planning for your business, right? I see too many business owners going from idea to idea to idea. But running your business that way is what? Oh, it's overwhelming. And it's stressful. And it's not only stressful and overwhelming to you, it's stressful to your team as well. And so when you start to think strategically, you're able to turn chaos into order. When you start to think strategically, you're able to have a roadmap for success. You're able to turn uncertainty into clarity, right? And you're able to make sure that every step that you take this year is going to be aligned towards those ultimate goals that you have for your business. You're going to be learning a lot of things over the next 3 days. And then it's just like off to the races, all of these different ideas. But how do they fit into your strategic plan for your business? And those are the things that you want to now settle on. Okay, yeah, I want to do these things versus everybody that comes to the stage, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. How does that align with the strategic plans that you have for your business? Some of you don't have them, and that's why you're so easily swayed this direction and that direction and doing a lot of different things. And so I want to teach you to start thinking strategically for your business, because when you do, again, it's going to align your steps towards your ultimate goal. All right, so here are some common challenges that I see that entrepreneurs have with planning and thinking strategically for their business. I'm gonna go through real quick. You're setting too many goals without prioritizing. So some of you are actually having planning meetings and you're coming out with this long list of things and it's just too many and they're not prioritized and you don't know what to do first and a lot of them just don't get done, the things that don't get done. You're focusing only on product and service launches and you neglect the overall strategic operations. Like, so what if you do achieve those goals? You can't even fulfill them because you didn't even think strategically for your business. You didn't think about team size, how am I gonna fulfill this? Maybe I need a new fulfillment organization, a new manufacturing plant. If I actually achieve this goal, if I actually make that $5 million and $3 million and $2 million that you all raised your hands to say that you're gonna do, can you fulfill them? Can your operation sustain that? And sometimes you're not thinking that through because you're not planning strategically for your team and preparing yourself to meet those goals. Goals are not aligned with revenue targets. So you have these revenue targets, but you haven't even planned your steps. You haven't even ordered your steps so that you can even meet those revenue targets. You haven't taken the time to plan to make sure that I'm even doing enough activity this year so that I can meet that target. And it leads to missed financial opportunities. There's no system for monitoring and tracking your progress. So you're saying you're gonna do all these things, but you don't keep your eyes on the plan and you don't monitor and track them. You're repeatedly carrying over unmet goals year after year. Has anybody experienced that? Yeah. You know, you saw your business bestie this year, and they're like, what you been doing? Girl, you still writing that book? You still about to launch that product, that t-shirt? Like, girl, please. All right. So, sorry, get back, Kat, get back. All right, so you're watching your peers and competitors seemingly achieve more. You're losing faith in your mission and purpose due to consistent goal shortfalls. Is anybody being discouraged and losing faith because they're not meeting their goals? Your difficulty breaking down large goals into smaller manageable tasks, and you struggle to adopt plans to changing business environments or unexpected challenges. Now, thinking strategically is gonna help you with this. Because when you think strategically, you're really thinking about, okay, you're gonna do a SWOT analysis. What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What are my opportunities? What are the threats? What's coming up this year? How can I put contingencies in place for what's coming? Right? And when people think strategically for their businesses, they're not caught with their pants down at the end of the year. They're not scared of coming into 2024 because they have a plan in place and they have some contingency in place. And a lot of you all are going along and you're scared about this year instead of taking a step back and thinking about what's coming. And if this comes, what can I do? Right? That's confidence in your business. And that's what strategic planning is going to do for you when you start thinking strategically. And then you have the inability to effectively measure progress or define success. So you're not measuring the progress or defining success for yourself or your team. Now, some of you already have teams and you have 7- and 8-figure businesses, but some of your challenges are lack of delegation, timelines, and ownership, right? You have teams, it's almost like you're scared to assign stuff to them. So you come back and sometimes you present the stuff, sometimes you don't. You're talking about all these goals, and then you go off and you're like, why didn't they get it done? Because you didn't specifically put their name next to it. You didn't talk about the criteria for success, and you didn't even talk about timelines with them, and then you're mad at them because the quarter's over and they didn't even start it. But you have to be more straightforward about that when you're planning with your team. Inconsistent and inadequate resource allocation leading to bottlenecks, and failure to effectively communicate goals and expectations to team, right? And so when you're thinking strategically and when you're doing your annual planning, you need to come back and you need to present that to your team. It's almost like marketing to your team. You want them aligned with your mission and vision. You want them to take hold of it and be excited about doing that work. And the only way that you can do that is if you're communicating it to them, right? You're communicating expectations and goals. And I will tell you that Entrepreneur A over here can come out of here and decide, I want to have 6 webinars this quarter. I want to do this, and that. But they planned it, they came back and they presented it to the team, and Entrepreneur A's team is excited about that. They want to do it. Now this is entrepreneur B over here. They're just all over the place. Same 6 webinars. Their team is stressed out. They don't want to help. They're not supporting it. And it just makes a difference. When you're planning strategically and you can get your team aligned with the mission and understand why you're doing things, they definitely want to help. They want to help you to achieve those goals. And that's the importance of taking a step back and planning strategically for your business. And then, of course, inability to effectively measure progress and define success for your team. All right, so here are the benefits of annual planning. It clarifies strategic intent. I already told you that, right? It's going to clarify your mission, your vision, your values. It's going to empower and align your team. It's going to enhance efficiency and productivity. You're going to get more done. It sounds counterintuitive, right? Oh, taking 2 days out a quarter or 1 day out of a quarter to plan for something. But if you do that, you're going to get more done, not less. It builds a performance culture and personal and team accountability. And it balances focus on profit and revenue growth, right? Because now you're going to be focused on your profit and revenue growth when you are doing your annual planning and when you're planning strategically for your business. So I'm going to quickly go into some of the things that you want to consider when you're doing your annual planning for your business, right? Really quickly, because I could spend 2 hours going over this, right? But you're talking about your mission, your vision, and your core values every time. Anytime you're doing your yearly planning, anytime you're doing quarterly planning, you're talking about that. That's your compass for decision making. Because when you don't do that, it leads to erratic business directions. And the team recognizes that. Right? You're going to review your long-term goals, your 3-year goal, your 10-year goals, because that's going to align your steps. If you want to have a coaching business that's this big in 2 years, what kind of team do you need for that? Do you need some coaches to support you? Do you need a building? What do you need for that? If you actually meet this goal in 2 years, there's some things that you need to start doing right now in order to support you such that when you meet that goal, you'll be ready for it. And too many times, you're not ready. Even when you achieve that success, you're not ready, right? Because you didn't think about those 3-year goals. You didn't think about those 10-year goals, and then you didn't order your steps along the way. For us, we knew we wanted a team of a certain size. We knew we wanted the mastermind to be a certain size. And so we said, well, if the mastermind is this size, well, how many program managers do we need? How many coaches do we need? Oh my God, this building is too small. We better go start getting another building right now because we want it to be this big and we need this many coaches and we need this much team. We better go start working right now because it may take us a year to get into a new building. You don't wait until after you achieved it and find out you can't fulfill it at that point, right? And so that's what strategic planning is going to help you do. And the important of strategic thinking, right? Before you jump into action, you want to evaluate past performance. Like how did things go last quarter? Did you meet your revenue goals? Did you meet your project plans and all of that stuff? You're going to think about your staffing needs. You're going to do that SWOT analysis. You're going to assess issues, right? This is going to form the foundation of your planning. And then you can jump into execution planning. Because now you've identified all the issues, all of the different things, and now you can set those top 5 to 7 goals for your team this year and for your team this quarter. But if you haven't done all of that, then you're just jumping into execution. It's not very strategic. Something like that could take a whole day. The next day, you can jump into the plan. Okay, now that I've assessed all of this, now I can decide, yes, I want to have an in-person event. Yes, I want to have a webinar. Yes, I want to launch these projects. But if you haven't thought strategically first, you should not be doing that. Too often people, I saw you have an event, I'm going to have an event. I don't know why I'm going to have an event. I don't know how it fits, but I'm going to have one, okay? But you're not thinking strategically for your business, right? He talked about high-ticket offers. Now I'm going to have a high-ticket offer. Well, does that meet your goals? Right? Think strategically for your business. So we're going to talk about a lot of things over these next 3 days, but I still want you to take some time to pause to make sure that aligns with your mission and your vision. All right, so common planning mistakes. Overabundance of ideas without execution capability. Lack of a concrete plan of action. So you're coming up with a whole bunch of things, but you're not adding end dates, target dates, and you're actually not even assigning ownership. No tracking and follow-up. You don't want to see that plan. You're not tracking, you're not following up. You even take the time, some of you take the time to have an annual planning session and you don't even go back and review the notes. Insufficient pre-planning. So if you're gonna have a planning session, prepare for it. Don't just show up and say, oh, what are we gonna do, guys? You know, you wanna make sure that you're bringing your numbers. How did you do as far as your financials? How did you do on your plans? Have some pre-planning such that you can have that as a foundation, things to discuss. And then not dedicating focused time. Get away from your office. Get away from your office. And make sure that you have focused time every quarter to plan for your business. And here's a tip for some of you that have team. Not only is our leadership team doing annual planning and quarterly planning, then our different departments go off and do it too. So our leadership team, they do their planning, and then the marketing team has a whole day to plan for the quarter so that they can get their steps ordered, so that they can plan for the things that they want to do. And some of those actions and goals are going to align with your big picture goals for the company, and then the marketing team may have some other goals to maybe get some things in order or to do some other things to help them run efficiently. But if you're not allowing your different teams to actually have that quiet time to strategically plan for their departments, right? And so if you're not doing that, that does wonders for your team. But having that dedicated focused time, not only at the leadership level, but then for the different departments as well, right? And then jumping right into execution planning without strategically thinking about what you need to do first. All right, so how do we get from annual planning to weekly milestones? Well, the first thing is you have to do your annual planning, right? You have to set the vision. And typically, the annual planning happens around like the October time frame. You want to make sure you're doing that. Why? Does anybody know why? Because a lot of times the things that you plan for the first quarter, you need to start working on those in the fourth quarter. So anybody that's going to do their annual planning next week, you're late. Unless your year is, on different months or whatever, and that happens with some businesses. But if you consider January the beginning of your year for your business, you're late, right? And so you want to go ahead and set that vision, and you want to go ahead and plan for the first quarter early. And then you break it down into quarterly goals. 5 is a good number. That's the sweet spot, 3 to 5. 7 is on the extreme end. But you don't want to set too many goals because you're not going to get them done. Then there's that frustration, right? And so you want to break that down into your annual goals into quarterly objectives. The next thing you want to do is assign ownership and milestone dates. Even if everything is assigned to you, you need to assign some ownership and you need to have some milestone dates. So say you have your top 5 to 7 quarterly goals, right? Everything can't time out on March 31st. Have some intermediate dates. Some things are going to get done in February, some things are going to get done in January, some things that it may take to the end of the quarter, and some things may go into other quarters as well, right? But that's just one tip or hack that I had is don't just go do your annual planning and come back and everything is listed and everything is due March 31st. That's a recipe for all of that thing going right into the second quarter, for everything going right into the second quarter. Another thing is you want to make sure that you're assigning ownership and getting agreement from your team. And once you do that, then have the onus on them to make sure that those things are being kicked off. And then have a meeting rhythm. Establish regular meeting rhythms to make sure that you're monitoring and tracking progress. So we're always reviewing. We're always looking at what our quarterly goals are in our monthly team meeting, in our Monday morning meeting. You have to have one person in your company that's always talking about what your goals are for the quarter and bringing it up at all times. It's not something that can be on autopilot. For our company, that's me. And so I'm bringing it up at least once a week, definitely in our monthly team meeting, but I'm keeping my eyes on that goal at all times. And so if you don't have anybody else, then that would be you for your company. All right, so let's get into why do we avoid planning? The comfort of ignorance. The comfort of ignorance. You want to avoid monitoring it. It's a defense mechanism. You don't want to face failures or challenges, so you'd rather be ignorant to it. That's why you're not tracking your revenue every month. Ignorance is bliss, right? So that's the reality, right? But what happens? It hinders your growth, and it prevents you from learning from your mistakes. It prevents you from putting actions in place so that you can pivot, so that you can reach that goal. You'd rather just wait until the end of the year and find out you didn't make that revenue goal. The fear of facing reality, right? Because that can reveal some uncomfortable truths for you. The solution is to embrace transparency. Track those things, confront those things. It's going to build resilience. It's going to help you to be able to pivot, to make plans so that you can reach your goals. The truth is, a lot of times you're not going to necessarily reach your goals, but you're going to be so much further ahead, much further than when you did not plan and when you did not track. Much further, all right? So that's why we avoid planning. All right, so 5 tips on staying focused on your goals, right? The first thing is put it on a calendar. Your yearly planning should be on your calendar every year. It's, you know, those recurring meetings? It should just be a recurring meeting. Don't even leave it up to yourself to set it every year. Just say, I'm going to have this yearly planning the second week of October. Every year, put it on your calendar and let it be there. Now, yeah, something may come up, a speaking gig may come up or something like that, but you have to make a commitment to yourself, which is the set thing, that it's not ever going to be canceled. It may move up a week, it may move back a week, but it's not going to be canceled because you have prioritized strategic planning for your business. And you have said that this is mission critical for your business. And the reason why a lot of you all did not do your annual planning last year because it was not mission critical for your business. It's something that you have to do versus something that needs to be done for your business. And so you're always 2 steps behind. You're always doing your annual planning in February. You're always doing your annual planning late January, eating up some of the year. Y'all done already missed some profit this year. Right? Because you haven't really said, this is important for my company, and I am not going to miss an annual planning session, a strategic planning session, and I'm not going to miss a quarterly planning session. I'm going to take that one day, and I'm going to plan and reset for my company, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to present it to my team, and I'm going to do it consistently over and over and over. Because what is that one day going to do to your to-do list? Nothing. It's always too long. You always have things to do. But when you as a business owner say, this is a priority for me, you won't miss those meetings. You're going to start assigning ownership, whether that's you or somebody else on the team, but you are going to directly assign ownership. If you have 5 to 7 goals for this quarter, somebody's name needs to be next to it and assign dates for it as well. And then you're going to review progress weekly because we are no longer going to be ignorant, right? All right, so that was the first thing, think strategically. The second thing is transition to a delegation mindset. We want you to recognize your limits, to understand that you can't do it all and that you need to start delegating. And actually, once you start planning more, even if you're a solopreneur, you can get more help, right? A lot of times we're not getting help because we're just not organized enough to actually have enough time to even go out there and find the help that we can afford. You can find people at all different levels. Somebody can build a website for you for $100, or somebody can build a website for you for $10,000. Somebody can be your assistant for $125 an hour, somebody can be your assistant for $6 an hour. But a lot of times, you don't have those resources because you haven't taken the time to take a step back and plan and to make sure that you just have things in order so that you can go out there and get that help. Identify delegatable tasks and things that you can delegate. Trust your team. And empower them through responsibility. Right? Empower your team through responsibility. Set them up for success and allow them to help you meet that mission and that vision that you have for your company. So this is the third thing I want you to do to start empowering your teams. Right? How do we do that? Set clear expectations. Like I said before, you're not even putting their name next to the task. You're just having meetings, talking about things, and getting mad at people because they didn't start them. I don't know. That's how things work. I don't know why. Assign due dates and timelines. Provide adequate training and knowledge transfer. Slow down. Show them how to do it properly. Establish a reporting criteria. Some KPIs, metrics, meet with them weekly, check in. So everybody that reports to me, they have an agenda, their quarterly goals are on it, their to-dos and action items are on it, and it's open, it's in the forefront. We're seeing it every day, or every week at least. Don't come to the meeting without your agenda. What are you working on? You know, what's the progress on it? And set a regular cadence for reporting. We talked about that. And empower team members to lead the discussion. This is a problem. A lot of you all are having meetings with your team and you're the only one talking. Right? So set that expectation that this is your meeting and I'm showing up. And have your team be prepared to come and report to you. Right? If you're the only one talking the entire meeting, you're probably the only one leading everything in your company. And it's exhausting. It's exhausting. Flip that thing around. Hey, you're the program manager. We're talking about the program. Next week, you're leading the meeting. Get that meeting out of you. Like if you own the meeting in Zoom or whatever, make it their Zoom link. Make them own the meeting. You show up, right? But you actually need to empower the team and let them lead the meetings and lead the discussions. Encourage autonomy and decision making. And provide construction feedback and recognition. And then foster a collaborative environment. So these are some tips on how to empower your team. And of course, supporting their professional development. So why don't we delegate? Why don't we empower our team? Fear of losing control? Guilt of overburdening others? I think that's a big one. That's why you don't put their name next to it. Perceived time cost. And it does take some time to delegate and to transfer things, but you're better off for it. And then lack of delegation skills and inadequate training of team members. Also, this is a big one, lack of organization. And finally, poor planning leading to last-minute execution. That's a big one. Because you're not planning and everything is so last minute, you don't even have enough time to transfer the skills, so you might as well just do it yourself. That's a big one. That's a big one. All right, so there's a positive cycle of delegation and empowerment, right? It's positive. As a leader, when you start thinking strategically and you come back and you're presenting to your team and you're assigning them and you're empowering them, and then the team member accepts, that agreement is a big part of it, right? And they accept that responsibility. And now they're empowered to execute. You've done your knowledge transfer. And you set that expectation that I'm expecting you to do this. You have it now. You set the meeting. If you have a question, you come to me. How many of you all go out and you present things to your team, and then now you have to set up a meeting to get it kicked off? You got to set the meeting up to get it kicked off. Oh, it's time to start this, it's time to start that. Flip that around within your company. And let them know, okay, now you have this. If you have any questions, I'm expecting you to put the meeting on my calendar, get your questions answered, and get this thing kicked off, right? But it's exhausting. Can you imagine that if I had to kick off every effort for the marketing department, every effort for the operations department, every effort for the admin department? It gets exhausted, and no wonder you're so tired. But you have to set that expectation with your team. And have them come to the meetings, have them lead the meetings, have them own the meeting invites, right? But the more you're doing that and you empower them to do that, and then you're able to give them feedback, and then there's increased trust, right? And then they're more confident. And now they're more confident, and they'll be able to do that thing by themselves the next time. And you're able to start giving them more things, and it's like a cyclical growth, right? So that's the positive cycle of delegation and empowerment. But you have to set yourself up first in order to kind of empower them and get your ducks in order. So I know a lot of you are saying, well, Ronnie Cat Williams, I don't have a team. So this doesn't apply to me, but it does. Because you need to empower yourself if you don't have a team. There was a line striking through that, but you need to empower yourself. Right? A lot of you all don't deserve a team yet. You're all over the place. You are. Why are you bringing people into chaos? Guess what? Everybody don't want to be an entrepreneur, and everybody don't want to be in this entrepreneur roller coaster. That's why they're coming to work for you. And it's an honor to have somebody come in to help you support your mission. So get your stuff together. So if you don't have a team, empower yourself, right? Start having your planning sessions. Start getting disciplined for yourself so that when you bring somebody in, they want to support you and they want to support your mission. So work on setting realistic and clear goals. Go ahead and start having those annual planning sessions and mapping things out and planning things out. Create structured timelines for yourself. Develop a training plan and get that professional development for yourself so that you can learn how to be a leader. If you don't know how to do annual planning, what's the best time to do it now if you don't have a team? Implement self-monitoring mechanisms and check-ins. Do regular self-reviews. And a lot of times, you don't like doing these things alone, and that's why I love the mastermind community, because they will plan together, they will review together, they will do their quarterly planning together. Get some business friends and go off and do your planning together and do check-ins together and hold each other accountable. Practice decision-making confidence and seek constructive feedback from your peers, from your mentors, from your mastermind groups, from your communities. And foster a network of community engagement, right? And so these are the things that I want you to do in order to empower yourself and to get yourself ready for that team that you want, to get yourself ready for those goals that you want to achieve, right? So I want you to start thinking strategically, have a delegation mindset, and to empower your team or yourself, right? So summing it all up, if you do all of that, you're going to have enhanced team dynamics, you're going to be more efficient, more productive, you're going to be able to scale, all of those things. I'm done. So it's time. Really, if you do all that, you're really going to be setting yourself up to meet those goals, right? You're going to be learning a lot of different things over the next couple of days, but I want you to take a step back and think strategically for your business and make sure that everything that you decide to do from now on aligns with your big picture goals, all right? And that's it. Have time for Q&A? Q&A? All right. So I think I might have a few minutes for Q&A. Lamar will come get me off when it's time to be over, or Brandy, but I think we may have some time for Q&A. All right, right here.
Good afternoon, Ronnie. Thank you so much for pouring into us around strategic planning My name is Cameo Roberson, and I have a fractional COO agency. We rescue overwhelmed entrepreneurs from operational chaos so they can get rid of the dysfunction and add more dollars to their bottom line. So my question has to do with, I am in awe of your planning abilities and skills in executing the TSP events, the details, the emails that we get after sessions end takes a considerable amount of planning. As you think about how the events have evolved over the years, what are your top 2 or 3 lessons that you've learned that has really impacted your level to execute on such a high level?
Oh, wow. Are there 3? There's so many, right? I think the biggest thing is that, number 1, just starting from a plan and making sure that we're planning. So anything that we have going on with our company, we're just project focused. And I notice a lot of people have businesses and they don't even say the word project, right? So I think that you should start get project focused, and anytime you have a big endeavor within your company, to have a project plan for that, right? And start from where you are. Start from whatever you know. And so our project plans just get better and better and better each time. And just have a mechanism for tracking that. And we're having our weekly meetings. We always have our project plans in front of us. So never just for any meeting that you have at your company, if there's not something to look at and you're just talking, those are the types of meetings where you're always having to repeat yourself and things are not getting done, right? And so I say, if you have a meeting with your team, and especially if it's a Zoom meeting or not, there needs to be some kind of plan or something that you're looking at all times to use that to kind of track. And just getting disciplined as a business owner and just staying on track of things, really. So that's really it. Just staying focused and improving upon the plans each time. But yeah.
Thank you.
Over here.
Hi, Ronnie. My name is Shayna Atkins. I'm the founder of ATCO. We take our customers from problem solving to acceleration by reducing waste in digital landscapes. My question is around the self-review, because I think as a founder, performance management sometimes goes top down. So even if you have a 360 feedback structure, what is your suggestion for self-review or performance reviews for the owner of the company?
Right, yeah, because who's going to check you, boo, right?
Exactly.
And that's not good. I think that's where sometimes mentors can come in. Again, you're right. You can get the feedback from your employees and things like that. But when you have mentors and people that you can kind of go to and just let them know, this is what's going on or whatever, they can actually give you some good constructive, feedback to help you grow as an individual. And also, that's why you don't stay in silos. You have to join masterminds. You have to follow some frameworks such as EOS and Table Group so that you can continue to get better as a leader, right? Because I didn't learn how to be a COO at IBM because I wasn't a COO. I actually wasn't a people manager. I was a project manager. And so a lot of this was new to me, and I'm still learning and growing. And so I have to make sure that I'm still learning and growing and that I'm learning frameworks and things like that. So get the feedback from your team, but also have somebody that you can go to help you grow as a leader.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Hi, Ronnie. My name is Jessica Gelvet. I am in real estate. I primarily focus on fix and flips, where I teach beginners how to fix and flip properties, and also I offer a done-for-you service in that space. So my question is actually very similar to the one that you just had. I can do the strategic planning before things get started, and I can do the review after, but sometimes the work in the middle of making sure that you stay on track, that you personally as the COO or the CEO or the business owner, how do you make sure that your day-to-day is on track? I noticed that one of your notes said something about self-monitoring systems. So do you have any specific tips about self-monitoring in the day-to-day to make sure that you stay on track and that your project goals remain what they are in a timeline that's reasonable?
Right. I mean, I have a couple of tips, and this will be the last question. They're calling me. But I do have a couple of tips, but really, number 1, it's discipline and kind of having that maturity as a business owner. That's number 1, right? And saying that you want these things and making sure that your actions align. The second thing is time blocks. So you can put some time blocks on your calendar, like maybe every Friday for a couple of hours, you're actually looking at what was accomplished and what's coming up next week and really setting your week for the next week, and that helps as well. But I think the time blocks actually help so that when you're planning out your week and you know, because as small business owners, one day we're doing this, next day we're writing copy, next day we're doing this and that. And so if you're planning out your week, you can actually have time blocks and quiet time to write the copy, and that's on your calendar. But what's going to make you do it? Because sometimes you can set those time blocks and you just ignore them, right?
Right.
You got to make a decision as a business owner that you're going to do it.
Thank you so much.
All right. Yep. All right, thank you.
Can we give it a round of applause?